For Unit 7, Day 3 Intro, we have to simplify radicals. And this is an algebra skill you should have acquired last year, maybe even prior to that. But we are going to review it. How I teach it is I teach it with factor trees. And so I look at the number 12 and I figure out what times what equals 12. And I want the two numbers that are closest together to each other. So I know you've got 1 and 12, 3 times 4, 2 times 6. But 3 times 4, those numbers are right next to each other. Okay? So 12 breaks down to 3 and 4. But 4 can break down to 2 and 2. And so I find my pair of 2's, okay? And since I have a pair of 2's, that pair goes on the outside of the radical. And I just take one number from that. The leftover, 3, it goes back into the radical. So let's try again for number 2. So for 40, I can think of all different types of factors, 2 and 20, 4 and 10. But 5 and 8 stick out to me as being kind of close to each other. And so I break this down. And I have 3 2's at the end of my branch and a 5. So now I need to find my pairs. So I have a pair of 2's. But this time I have 2 numbers left over that go back into the radical. And so I multiply these to get 10. Okay, so this is my solution. So for 50, I'm going to use 5 and 10, 10 breaking down to 2 and 5. So I have a 2, a 5, and a 5. So I need to circle my pairs of 5's. The 5 goes on the outside, the leftover 2 back inside the radical. Okay. In number 4, 48, we could use lots of different factors here, but I'm going to use 6 and 8. And then 6 can break down to 2 and 3, 8 breaks down to 2 and 4, 4 breaks down to 2 and 2. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 2's and a 3. So I find my pairs, and now, since I have 2 pairs, I take 1 2 from each pair, multiply those together. So 2 times 2 is 4. My leftover 3 goes inside of the radical. 18. We could use 3 and 6. 6 breaks down to 2 and 3. I have 2, 3, 3. My pair of 3's goes on the outside. My leftover 2 back on the inside. Okay, and then lastly, 21 can break down to 3 and 7. But 3 and 7 have no pairs. And so these are considered leftovers. And leftovers always get multiplied and put back into the radical. So really, basically, you just can't simplify certain problems. And so you would just leave it as the radical it was.